Greetings, nerds. I have an ink. We can prove it's an ink, okay? See? Ink. Fluidy. 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 I'm going to answer the age-old question, how to thicken paint. Nobody has ever asked me this question before, and I don't know why, but I'm assuming it's because hobbyists are, weird. But I'm going to take this magical solution right here and mix it into my paint or my ink or whatever. And now we have a thicker thing that's not retracting. And we can dry brush with it too now. It's thick enough for that. Anyways, how did I do that? Well, it's a chemical reaction between a couple different chemicals. You have carboxymethylcellulose, you have lapinite RD, and a bunch of other ones as well. Dextrin is another one. Gum arabic is another. There's a ton of different ones, but the main ones that you're going to be using are gum arabic, dextrin, lapinite RD, and carboxymethylcellulose. With the two biggest ones, you'll be using carboxymethylcellulose and lapinite RD. Now, both carboxymethylcellulose and lapinite RD are white powders, so don't snort them. Despite, them looking very, very snortable. But they're hazardous, right? That's why you always want to wear a respirator around pigments. But they're water soluble. And when you put them into water, they turn into these kind of gel-like things. Now, we grab a tiny little bit here of this lapinite here. You can see it absorbs water really well, but when you put more water into it, it becomes liquid again. And that's how we thicken paint. It's not through pigment, it's through chemical reactions of rheology modifiers. That's how that works. Pigment doesn't really affect viscosity, especially not in acrylics, where you have a very limited amount of that you're doing. Now, if we're talking oil paint, pigment does affect viscosity because you're using such high volumes of pigment, but we're talking about acrylics here. Acrylics, all chemical reaction, use such a little bit of amount of something like this that it thickens it up into a gel-like solution. That's how that works. Hopefully this was greatly educational or moderately educational. Hopefully I answered some questions that were never asked. Either way, there's some links down below. I now have a Patreon and a Ko-Fi. I've had the Ko-Fi, but I have a Patreon now because people kept asking for it. Also, PayPal is now linked to my Ko-Fi because people kept asking for it. You're welcome.